You know that moment. You open a ride-hailing app, pop in your destination, and bam, a price just appears. It feels like magic, but it's not. What's really happening is a real-time AI model is analyzing everything, your location, demand, traffic, all in a split second. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're building the playbook for how you, as a product manager, can make that magic happen.
Look, here's the honest truth. A data scientist building a cool model in a notebook, that's kind of the easy part. The real challenge, the thing that separates a killer AI product from just another science project, is getting that model out into the wild, making millions of predictions a day in real time without ever breaking a sweat. And that gap, that's what we're here to close.
So, where do we even begin? Well, welcome to Act 1, Deconstructing the SAC. Before we can build anything, we have to know our tools. And we're going to break down the essentials using some really simple, powerful analogies so you can walk into those technical meetings and lead the conversation with total confidence.
Okay, first things first. We have a fundamental choice to make. You've got batch processing, which is like a lake. You collect a whole bunch of data, let it sit, and then process it all in one big chunk. It's slow. For what we need, a real-time app, we need stream processing. Think of it like a river. Data is always flowing, and we can react to it the second it comes in. For real-time AI, you got to be on the river, not sitting by the lake.
And that river, it flows through something called Apache Kafka. The best way to think about Kafka is as the digital nervous system for your entire platform. It's sending all those little data signals everywhere they need to go, and, this is the crucial part, it makes sure no message ever gets lost. Even if a piece of the system goes down for a minute, Kafka holds on to it. It's the rock-solid backbone of this whole operation.
But who tells all these different parts of the system what to do and when to do it? Well, that's Apache Airflow. Airflow is our orchestra conductor. And get this, Airflow doesn't actually process any data itself. It doesn't play an instrument. It just stands at the front and tells the violins when to start, the drums when to come in. It makes sure the entire data symphony plays in perfect harmony, handling all the schedules, retries, you name it.
Okay, so our data's flowing, it's being orchestrated, but how do we actually see what's happening right now? That's where Elasticsearch and Kibana come in. Picture a high-tech security room in a spy movie. Elasticsearch is the system that's instantly indexing every single thing that happens. And Kibana, that's the wall of monitors, the dashboard, that lets us see it all as it unfolds. This is our eye on the business, moment to moment.
But what about those deeper, long-term questions? For that, we need a different setup, a warehouse and a genius analyst. Google Cloud Storage, or GCS, that's our massive, super cheap data warehouse for all our historical data. And BigQuery is the genius analyst who lives inside it. It can sift through petabytes of data and even train machine learning models with just a bit of SQL. This is where we go to find out the big strategic why.
All right, enough with the theory. We've got our tools, now it's time to get our hands dirty. Welcome to Act 2, the mission. Remember, we're building this thing for two very different groups of people. First, we've got the operations team. They need to know what's happening right now. Then, we've got the strategy team. They need to understand the deep analytical why. Two different users, two different needs.
So we're going to tackle this just like any good product, with a series of quick iterations. First, a tracer bullet, just to prove data can get from A to B. Second, enrichment, to start adding some real business value. And third, a fan-out, which is our secret weapon for serving both of our user groups. Let's do this. Step 1 is literally the simplest thing we could possibly build. Can we send one single message from a producer and have a consumer pick it up on the other side? And, yep, it worked. This little test is what we call a tracer bullet. It's not a user feature. It's all about de-risking the project. We've just proven our most basic assumption, that we can get data into our system. Foundation validated.
Okay, data is flowing. Now let's make it actually useful. We bring in our conductor, Airflow, to run its first little job. We call it a DAG. It takes that raw trip data and automatically calculates the trip's distance and its cost. You know, this is a great way to think about a data pipeline. Each step is like its own little feature. It takes in something raw and outputs something way more valuable.
Now, for the really clever part. Our two user groups have totally different needs, right? Ops needs speed, strategy needs depth, and history. How do you solve that? With a fan-out architecture. This Airflow job takes our single, enriched stream of data and splits it, sending it down two completely separate paths at the same time, one for each of our users.
And here's the proof that it works. Look at this. On the left, that trip data pops up instantly in Elasticsearch, ready for our live dashboard. And at the exact same time on the right, that very same piece of data lands safely in Google Cloud Storage for our deep analytics later. It's beautiful. One stream, two destinations. Two user problems solved. And that brings us to our final act, the debrief. We've built the platform, the data is flowing exactly where it needs to go, so now it's time to ask the big question. So what? Let's look at the final products we delivered and finally peek inside that mysterious machine learning black box.
And here it is, the payoff for all that work. For our operations team, we have this beautiful live Kibana dashboard showing revenue and trip locations in real time. And for our strategy team, a report from BigQuery that uses our AI model to show which geographic zones are the most profitable. We did it. Two distinct data products for our two very distinct user personas. Mission accomplished.
So how did we get that profitability report? Well, that came from our AI model, so let's pop the hood on that so-called black box. It's actually not that scary. Think of our K-means model as a smart sorting hat, like in Harry Potter, but for locations. We didn't have to tell it where downtown or the suburbs were. We just fed it a ton of historical data and said, hey, find 8 distinct geographic clusters on your own. It's just automated pattern recognition. That's it. Now, every single decision we made along the way involved a trade-off. And honestly, this is where you, as the product manager, really earn your keep. We chose Elasticsearch for that sub-second speed, even though it costs more. And we chose Google Cloud Storage for long-term storage because it's super cheap, even though it's slow. We got the best of both worlds because we were intentional about trading off speed versus cost.
So let's wrap this up and distill this entire journey down into your personal playbook. These are the high-level lessons you can take with you to your very next project.
First, always de-risk your biggest assumption first with a simple tracer bullet MVP. Second, don't build one-size-fits-all systems. Architect your platform to serve the specific needs of your users, even if it means splitting your data streams. Third, your data pipeline is a product. Give it a roadmap, give it users, give it a backlog. And finally, number 4, master the art of the analogy. It is the single most powerful tool you have to bridge the gap between you and your technical team.
And there you have it. When you break it down like this, you realize that building a complex system isn't some dark art. It's just a series of logical, product-led decisions. That gap between a model in a notebook and a production-ready AI feature, it's not a black box anymore.
It's a clear, repeatable process, which means the only real question left is, what are you going to build?